research was on, I looked at popular culture blogs, and I tried to look at their patterns of long form and short form. And so I looked at blogs of different genres. So I looked at shonen and shoujo blogs of 4 different genres. So video games, manga, anime, and music. And I looked at 9 blogs in all. And I'm interested in this because I like Japanese popular culture, and I don't know a lot about social media habits in general at all. So I thought this would be an interesting opportunity to observe different writing habits online. And so my methodology was I looked at 9 blogs and I tallied 100 sentences to see their long form and short form patterns. And when I say this, I looked at verb patterns as well as use of des or not with adjectives and nouns. And I used Cook's article on social verbal conversations to help interpret the results. I wasn't able to find a lot of research on cyberspace writing, so I know that that's very different from our social interactions, but I'm hoping I can use some of what she found and see if it applies in the online sphere. So for the music blogs, they had vast differences and unexpected ones at that. So in the shoujo music blog, it had a whopping 77 use of short form versus only 23 uses of long form. And in the shonen music blog, you had 57 uses of a long form versus 43 uses of short form. And I wondered why that was, and I think the reasoning might be that the shoujo music blog was actually about this AKB48, like a 48-member all-girls pop culture band, and they're typically popular within the male crowd. They have a very large male following. So it reminded me, I thought it might be reminiscent of the article we read about the female wrestling coach, that she might be using short form to sort of enter this male sphere. But at the same time, I thought the social context might be really different from this writing context. So it could be just her individual choices. And I wasn't sure if I was kind of forcing an ideology on her. I didn't know if she felt the need to do that at all. And for the shonen music blog, it was more professional seeming. So it was about this band, the Tokyo Shonen Club, and it was their personal blog. So I thought they might be using more long form, moss form, as in a business style sense. So for the video game blog, the shoujo game used more short form at 67 times versus 33 long form times. And then the shonen game used 75 long form in the blog versus 25 short form. And so once again, we kind of have this flipped idea of what one might expect. And I think something similar may have happened in that for the shonen gaming blog, it was a person in IT with a video game distributing company called Steam. So I thought he might be taking on a more professional pursuit to inform customers about different games, while the shoujo video game blog was very casual in that she was giving fans her impression of a game she had just played. But a very interesting note in terms of genre, these are both the same style video game called a visual novel, a reading game. And it's just interesting that both the males and females enjoy this format of playing as a nice side note. Interesting. So for the anime blog, the shoujo anime blog had 57 uses of long form versus only 43 uses of short form. And then the shonen anime blog had 56 uses of long form versus 44 uses of short form. So they didn't vary a lot at all. And I'm wondering why, but from what I could see in the shoujo anime blog, it was a lot of different reviews from viewership, and the reviews would have the person's profile. It would have their gender and their age most of the time. And there were actually a lot of male reviewers on the shoujo anime blog. So you had a lot of men watching shoujo anime from very different age ranges. So we had people in their teens all the way up to their 20s and 30s, and I think one was even in their 50s and 60s. So that was just really shocking. That was so interesting. One of the most fascinating things I found, there were lots of guys watching shoujo anime. And the shonen anime blog was very professional. This man named Suyamata, so he was a professional blogger. He had his image posted on a lot of the pictures where he would review anime as well. So that could be a reason for more moss form usage. And so I looked at 3 different manga blogs because one of the shonen blogs I looked at was also written by a lady, which was really interesting that, you know, the shonen genre is crossing gender a lot, has lots of varied interests. And as a result, the shoujo anime blog, shoujo might be crossing gender a lot too, of interest. So in the shonen manga blog, written by a man, you had 45 uses of long form versus 55 uses of short form. And in the shonen manga blog written by a lady, there was 44 uses of long form versus 56 short form. So there's like a 1 number difference in this. Interesting. And the shoujo manga blog had 60 short form uses and 40 long form uses. So it had the most difference between the two. And so, as a note, there's something interesting about the shonen manga blog written by a lady. It was interested in this manga called Left-Handed Ellen, which is about 2 office ladies kind of trying to climb up the corporate ladder, competing against each other. So it's just interesting that such a story is in a shonen manga magazine, and that it has this interest, the female interest in it as well. So in terms of Cook's article, she looked at, if within a social context, moss form usage and short form usage. And she found that moss form equaled greater distance between the listener and receiver, while plain form had a closer, more intimate distance, not negative distance, as you see. So that probably plays a role in terms of what I mentioned with professionalism blogs versus casual blogs. And then there was also something interesting that short form was used to address oneself a lot. So like with rhetorical questioning, and with the Suyamata blogger, the professional blogger, he did this a lot. He would, as an entertainment sort of way, he would ask himself rhetorical questions in the blog. So that was interesting, that he used short form that way. And then moss form can mean higher social status, which could be in the case of the man in IT, for example. But also plain form usage can show your social authority on a topic as well. And so it's hard to tell if moss form and short form usage plays a big difference in these gendered blogs, because I looked at so few, so it's a small study, and it's hard to account for individual preferences. And the different writing styles can just be so varied. And so a lot of factors probably played in to one's internet writings and such. And you know, in social interactions, you have a lot more of the subconscious going on when you're talking to people. But I think in any form of writing, it's a lot more meticulous, you think it out, it's thought out. So you're just gonna have very different results, I think, if you look at the social versus writing patterns. So going forward, I think academia needs to have the conversation of, is cyberspace writing worth studying? Do we need to have more research developed into it, looking at popular culture? We've had a lot of these discussions before. is popular culture worth studying. So we probably need to have that conversation and put a bigger team of linguistics, and maybe some Google engineers together to look at the internet writings on a greater scale, to look at blogs, observe. And remember to not let our ideologies get in the way of research. Thank you, guys.